Thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video, the all-in-one website builder for your blog, portfolio, or online shop, all in one place, all on your own terms. Hi, I'm Shay, and I started keeping sketchbooks since I was about 10 years old, and now I have around 60 sketchbooks filled with drawings, notes, cursed Homestuck fan art, and the overall documentation of my art journey in life from the past 10 years. And I'm not stopping my sketchbook habit anytime soon, and if you clicked on this video, I'm assuming you aren't either. So here are my top 3 tips for using and finishing a sketchbook this year. You have to have a purpose with your sketchbook. So like with any goal you want to reach, you want to have a purpose and motivation to reach it. And the same goes for sketchbooks. So the big question is, why do you want to use your sketchbook? Do you want to get better at drawing, painting, or establish a better creative habit? To study anatomy so you can get better at drawing characters? Maybe you want to develop your own characters or world, or use it to just document the world around you. Or maybe you just want to express yourself through your art and want to keep a visual diary. If you just have the goal to finish a sketchbook this year and you're lacking motivation to do it, or you're feeling lost, try and dig a little bit deeper and figure out why that's so important to you as an artist or creative. Figuring out your why can give you so much more clarity and motivation and guidance with reaching a goal. And in this case, it could really help you to use your sketchbook to completion and not just have a bunch of half-empty sketchbooks. So you don't want the practice of keeping a sketchbook to be like, how many pages can I finish today? You want it to be more like, what can I practice or study for my next painting? Or how do I want to design one of my OCs? And then just naturally use those pages to accomplish those art goals. I would also refrain from giving yourself a strict deadline to finish your sketchbook, especially when you're just starting out using sketchbook, you're brand new to using one. It may cause unneeded stress and give you the mindset to fill pages just to fill pages to make a deadline, which I find isn't conducive to a positive sketchbook habit. In my opinion, I think we want to use sketchbooks as a tool to make art and foster a creative mindset, not to force an end result. It's all about the process and kind of just improving our process and our thinking and our creativity. So no matter how simple or complex the goal is, find one that you're really excited and passionate about and write it down on like the first page of the sketchbook or somewhere on the sketchbook. A study conducted by Dominican University in California found that you are 42% more likely to reach a goal by writing it down. So yeah, scribble it somewhere on your sketchbook. Now you have a 42% better chance of finishing your sketchbook. No, but seriously, I find that writing a clear goal or intention for my sketchbook encourages me to continue to use it. I currently have a goal of building my portfolio and developing more digital paintings this year, and using my sketchbook to plan different compositions, writing ideas, and sketching out character poses and interaction is really helping me get there and keep a daily sketching habit, and it just ends up in the result of me finishing a sketchbook. So another thing I like to do, like when starting a sketchbook, is I like to keep a list of artists I like the work of and want to emulate myself in like the front cover. So if I'm feeling lost or stuck on a certain project, getting inspiration from the work that I really love helps me to move forward and figure out what to do or what to study next. Okay, tip number 2, build a daily or weekly habit. I think another important part of reaching a goal is creating habits that help you to work towards them. If you want to use your sketchbook to improve your drawing skills, maybe that's making a habit to study the fundamentals every Monday and Wednesday before work or after school in your sketchbook. Or if you're like me and have the goal of making a digital painting a week this year, developing a sketching and thumbnailing habit every day inspires me to get more ideas and bring me closer to reaching that goal. I remember when I first started working towards that goal January 1st of this year, and I found that just spending 10 to 30 minutes a day doodling and sketching really helped me to get my creativity flowing and make longer periods of drawing a lot less overwhelming and difficult. Regardless of what the habit is, I would really recommend starting small and making it easy for you to complete, then slowly working your way up to bigger time commitments if that's what you want. I would also advise to make it a somewhat frequent habit so you don't forget about doing it and it actually ends up becoming a habit. There have been too many times where I want to create a new habit in my life and I completely forget about it a month later because I didn't do it enough for it to stick and I didn't have it like right in front of my eyes because I have the attention span of a goldfish. But overall, you want using your sketchbook to become second nature and have a positive association to where it isn't a feeling of I have to fill pages in my sketchbook today to more like I want to use my sketchbook to figure out the ideas that I'm excited about. And just start using it without even worrying about finishing it, and it just becomes a second nature and you just it just becomes part of your creative routine. Before I move on to my third and final tip, actually I have 4 tips, not my final tip. Okay, before I move on to the rest of the tips, I would like to take the time to talk about the sponsor of today's video, Squarespace. We've been discussing sketchbooks and art goals a lot in this video, and as I mentioned previously, one of my biggest goals this year is to develop more digital paintings to add to my portfolio. As I work towards this goal, I need a place to showcase all my work online, and Squarespace's customizable portfolio templates have helped immensely with developing a professional portfolio site. Squarespace's drag and drop Fluid Engine website design system allows me to set up a contact page within minutes, along with adding more information about my art and experience in the About section through text blocks, images, and even videos. With Squarespace, you can host your online shop and sell digital and physical products all in one place, and even add extensions like Printique, Printify, and Art of Wear to add more variety to your shop offerings while saving you time to make more art by taking care of the shipping and handling for you. So if you're looking to start your online shop, host a professional portfolio site, or start a personal blog, you can go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/sketchesofshay to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain using my code sketchesofshay. Thank you to Squarespace for continuing to sponsor the channel, and thank you to viewers like you who continue to watch my videos and support the channel so that I can continue to get more sponsors like these. Now, back to the video. Okay, tip number 3, reflection. Okay, now that you've set your goal for using your sketchbook and found a habit to work towards, as you start to implement this new routine, I think it's really smart to check in with yourself from time to time to see if it's actually helping you make progress towards the goal. It may be a little uncomfortable at first, and that's okay. It takes some time to get used to a new habit, and I think it's natural to have some growing pains, and having a little bit of challenge can kind of help you grow. But if weeks are passing and it seems like you're really forcing yourself to open your sketchbook and use it, it may be time to change your goal along with the habit that you set. So usually when this happens, it can be because of a variety of things. And one of those things could be that your goal may have been too vague or broad, and you're having trouble figuring out what kind of habit will work or where to even start with making progress towards your goal. I find that being more specific with what you want to accomplish really helps with this issue. So instead of having the goal of getting better at drawing, make it a more specific area of interest in drawing. So that could be maybe the goal of understanding the fundamental drawing skills like light and shadow, and making a habit of dedicating time each week to make observational drawings, studying the shadows of objects or people around you, and noticing how different shadows describe forms differently. The more specific you are, I find it's easier to curate habits to reach that goal, and it's a lot easier to track progress. So you can also experiment with different times of the day. Some people prefer creating in the morning. Some people are night owls and get inspired before bed. Experiment and find a schedule that works best for you. If you're realizing that being creative takes a lot of energy out of you, maybe trying to find like a relaxing moment in the day or a period of time throughout the day where you have the most energy and trying to draw during that time, that could really help. Another tip you can try is either working towards that goal more or less frequently. Maybe your habit isn't frequent enough to see the improvements that you want, and that unnoticeable progress is discouraging you from continuing to work towards your goal. So maybe that's adding an extra art session a week and seeing how you're feeling and how your skills are improving. But if the opposite case is happening and you feel like you're forcing yourself to create too often and it's causing you to burn out and really hate your art, I would recommend first taking a break, like not even thinking about your goal for maybe a couple days, maybe even a week. And after that, just implement a more sustainable creative practice. So if you're finding drawing every day was exhausting and leaving you burned out, maybe only creating once or twice a week would be a better option for you. I think it's so important to reflect on your habits as a creative and how you work, and really checking in to see if you're making progress towards your goal every couple of weeks or so, and making the necessary adjustments in your habits and routines to really optimize your progress. I also want to mention that during this process of figuring out what works for you, you may find that your focus changes entirely on what you want to create in the first place. For instance, maybe your original intent was to improve your character designs, but you found throughout your practice sessions you really like environment design more. And that's where my next tip comes in: evolution. The way you create and what you're interested in can evolve as you use your sketchbook in your art process. Sketchbooks are an amazing place for exploration and figuring out who you are as an artist and what you're most excited about creating. That's so valuable to understanding what path you want to take. You may think you really want to do comic work and use your sketchbook to draft out ideas and panels, but eventually find through this process that you're actually more interested in one-off illustrations. Trying new things, devoting yourself to practicing fundamentals, and giving yourself the time and the space to nurture your creative spirit may surprise you and lead you to paths you never considered or even realized that you wanted to travel. Our growth as creatives ebbs and flows as time passes. Sometimes we're bursting with passion for one project, and the next year we're on a completely different path. It's okay for your intentions and your interests to change. Evolution is natural in your journey as an artist, and it's beneficial to your work and skills to enjoy the process and see where it takes you. So hopefully, after making some goals and creating sustainable creative habits surrounding that goal, you've used your sketchbook with intention and have reached the last page. You did it! You finished your sketchbook, and hopefully you feel inspired to start using another one to continue reaching the same goal, or maybe you found that you need to set new ones. But ultimately, I hope this exercise of setting goals and using your sketchbook intentionally helps you understand yourself better as an artist. Some of you may even realize that you don't actually like to use sketchbooks for art, but as a place to write ideas, stories, and concepts, and you prefer to just jump into the art part. That's completely okay. You don't have to keep a sketchbook to be a successful artist. Just find a way that works for you and your process to stay inspired and creating regularly. That could be through a planner, a diary, or maybe just a blog or a personal website. Find what works for you, and your artwork will inevitably find you. So TLDR, filling a sketchbook is a way of finding yourself as an artist. This commitment to studying, exploring, and creating on a regular basis and compiling all of that knowledge in one place can be an amazing tool in your creative journey. Having clear goals and intentions with your sketchbook and using it to get closer to your goals as an artist is a great start to filling pages and supporting an effective creative routine. And those are my tips for using and finishing sketchbooks. I hope this helped or inspired you to start or to keep filling sketchbooks to reach your art goals. I think sketchbooks are a really great tool for artists to help them develop projects, maintain a frequent creative practice, and to just have a personal space to express yourself. Let me know down below how you use your sketchbooks or you plan to use your sketchbooks after watching this video. I'd love to hear your goals and plans and cheer you on down below in the comments. So if you're interested in more sketchbook and art content like this, you can like this video and subscribe to support the channel. I also post my daily drawings and weekly paintings on my Instagram, so you can follow me at Sketches of Shay to see more of my artwork. And thank you again to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. A reminder to go to squarespace.com/sketchesofshay to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain using my code Sketches of Shay. Thank you guys so much for watching. Now go fall in love with your sketchbooks and make some art. See you guys next week.